Hi there, Sandra here from Create in Spain, and today I've been using my Siser Juliet. I haven't actually used it for quite a while because I have a laser cutter and I've been playing with that a bit more. But it's now the season where I start to think about Christmas cards, and I decided to do one today. And I decided that since most people don't have lasers and most of you probably have cutting machines, I would do it on my cutting machine instead. So I've got a page here which I've put through my Juliet, so everything is cut out. Now apologies if you can hear this background noise. Someone is decimating a bathroom next door. Not my house, the house next door. And unfortunately the sound carries when people are basically chipping off tiles and things. Yeah, there's some kind of drilling going on. So I've got all my cutouts done, and I've just left them in the sheet to show you. Now this is the front panel for the card, and then the rest of it are add-on bits. Now you notice that some of these are not the full design, and that is because I put the images into my iPad and use Procreate to mess around with it somewhat so I can have some layers on here. So I've got my image of my fairy on the cupcake, and I've imported it, or opened it I should say, into Procreate. Now I need to remove the background from this, and I have found in fact that having the new Apple Pencil seems to be helping in this regard, because I think it's got some extra functionality in it which is having an effect on this. I could be mistaken. Maybe the normal Apple Pencil does exactly the same thing with Procreate now. Maybe it's something to do with the new iOS. Maybe it's to do with updates in Procreate. I really don't know. There's so many things that change on a regular basis, it's hard to tell. However, to remove the background, if you've got a coloured background behind your image and you just want to cut out the actual item, i.e. the fairy and the cupcake, in Procreate this is very, very easy. Go to this little ribbon thing here. Now first of all, make sure you're on the right layer. I've only got one layer here, so not a problem. So go to the ribbon, and what you want to click on is automatic. And I don't want colour fill on, but if it's on, it goes blue, okay? I don't want that on at all. Now if I tap on here, you can see that it has selected everything that it thinks is white. And in actual fact, this is a pretty good mask. Now, if you need to, you can feather it so you can see that the mask is going in towards the fairy a little bit. If I exaggerate it a lot, you can tell it's moving in. I've got it set to none. Now, if the black area is now not covering everything that you want it to cover, you slide your pencil from right to left, and it adjusts the threshold. You can see up here selection threshold, or it increases the threshold. You can see that it takes out far too much, and I probably need to increase the mask a little bit, right about there I think. Okay, what you can do then is tap on this arrow, and then you just drag the background out of the way, and it goes to junk basically. It's got rid of. Now the other thing you can do if you want to is select part of your image, and you can do that by using the same setting up here but using freehand. And when you use freehand with the mask, what happens, I'll just demonstrate over here, what happens is you get these little running ants. Now the difference I found recently with this is that even if I lift my Apple Pencil well away, okay, I'm holding my arm behind me now, I come back and it goes where I left off. This is absolutely brilliant. If you want to, you can do a line, but you can also lift off and you can do points on your image as well. So you don't have to really closely follow the line that you need. You can do points. I'm just going to clear that. Now with Procreate, as with most apps on an iPad, you can zoom in and zoom out by using a pinch. So if you really do want to get it very, very accurate, you can do that by just going around the outside edge, and you can zoom it back in and out as you wish and still continue to use this until you have whatever it is selected, and I can clear that again. So that makes it very easy to get little pieces out of a bigger image, and it means it's really easy to get the effects that you want. The other thing that you can do, for example, I'll just do it on an ellipse. You can do your ellipse. What am I going to do? Just do that bit there. And you can copy and paste, and that will automatically put that selection in another layer. If I switch that off, you can see we have that selection only. So that's how I've got all my various bits and pieces to be imported into Shortcut Slot as it happens, so that it can do a decent trace, or I can just import it as it is under an SVG import, as long as I export this as a PNG. Now, if you're doing this and you're doing lots of decoupage, for example, you're going to have lots of different layers. And in the export tab, you have options. And in the options, you've got share image in all the various formats, but you've also got share layers. And what you need to do is to choose the format that you want, and it's generally PNG. And then it will export all those individual layers for you. If you have it selected, it will export it. If you don't have it selected, it won't. Okay, so that is how you do the exporting of each individual layer. Okay, back to the card. Now, the image itself came from a package which is in Creative Fabrica, so I can't actually give you the files, but I can direct you towards that particular site if you want to do it with the same images. That's where they came from. So I'm going to put this to one side. Just grab my card base. Now I'm using a 13cm square card base, and I have some no wrinkle glue which I'm going to put on the back of here, because using a glue gives you a little bit of wriggle room in placement over double-sided tape and things like that. So I'll just use the glue this time and see how it goes. If it doesn't go very well, I'll have to do another print. Right, let's grab this. Now, the way I like to do it is to line it up with a fold line, because if you get it slightly off, the rest of it can be trimmed, but your fold line cannot. I'm going to put a clean piece of kitchen towel over the top, because I know I've got glue over my fingers. I'm just going to use that to press it down. I want to make this pop just a little bit more, so I've got some sparkly pens. This is a clear sparkle jelly roll, so it's really handy if you just want to emphasize a colour without covering it over. It just adds the glitter effect, which is pretty good. Okay, so I've got that ready to go, and all I need to do is to position it over here, but of course I'm going to put it up on some foam pads. Now, the other thing is, if you're not sure about your placement, if you think you're going to have difficulty, put a piece of this paper underneath most of it. Then you can kind of move it into place, get it lined up, then remove that. What I did forget was that I've got some text on there, and I'm covering it up slightly. I didn't notice at the time that that was going to be in the way. Now, the other way I could get around it is to manually trim this little piece so that it wasn't in the way, but that would depend on whether I could peel off, and I can't, that double-sided tape. No, that's not coming off. So I would just have to leave that there. So next of all, we have the fairy, just the fairy on her own, and what I would do with the fairy is prop her up with 2 layers of the foam tape. And like that. Avoiding these edges, you don't want to see the tape. Easiest way of doing that is to stick the tape on here and then to apply that afterwards, because otherwise there is a chance that you're going to get everything showing or too many layers on a particular place. So this is going to look absolutely dire for the moment, but it will look fine when it's finished. And as I said, make sure to apply 2 layers of your foam tape for this bit. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Line with the other one. And I think I'm going to add a little bit of sparkle here, and I think some sparkle on the wings. We have to have sparkle, don't we? And there we have it. My card is finished. I hope you like that, and I hope you give something similar a go. As I said, this came from Creative Fabrica, and it's a pretty little design. I think my granddaughter will really love this at Christmas. Now, if you haven't tried Creative Fabrica, you may find, if you're using Shortcut Slot, that you have access to a free trial of it. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you again soon. Take care now.